So, I was raised in one of those family systems that everybody thinks that they want. I was raised in very prominent neighborhoods around Los Angeles, everywhere from Rolling Hills Estates to Hancock Park, where we live next door to the mayor of Los Angeles. We moved to Century City, where we live next door to Carol Burnett. She was a very nice couple. And then we moved to Beverly Hills, where one of our houses was used in the movie Beverly Hills Cop Part 2. I went to private schools, really nice private schools. In fact, Mike Lookinland, Bobby Brady was in my graduating class. For my 16th birthday, my parents gave me a brand new sports car. It was awesome, loved it. And we had a condo in Maui that we used to go to once or twice every year. So, from society's perspective, I had it all. I was successful. I had worth. I had everything. But if that truly is where worth and happiness and success comes from, then why is it at the age of 24, I'm sitting on the edge of my bed with a knife in my hand, debating which wrist to slice open first, and wondering if I can cut one and switch hands or cut the other. And I know you cut down and not across. And then I thought, what am I doing? And I realized that there was this huge disconnect between what I had on the outside and who I was on the inside. And what happened to me, I had this hole inside of me that kept getting bigger and bigger, and I kept filling it up with alcohol and with other drugs to the point where I turned that corner and I became addicted. And I realized that yes, I am a drug addict and I am an alcoholic and today in long-term recovery. But when I looked beyond that, what I saw is that I had no self-esteem. I had ego, I had all of that outside stuff, and I could tell you how great my life was, how awesome my car was, how all these things were amazing in my life, but on the inside I was shriveling up and dying. And what I realized is that our society has sold us a lie. It has told us that if we have the right number on a scale, if we have the right label on the back of our shirt, if we go to the right schools or we're in the right zip code, then that means we have worth. And it's not true. And what happened to me, I was watching TV one day, and I remember this commercial came on, and it said, "You want to feel better about who you are? Buy our product, grow more hair, and you'll have more self-esteem." And I thought, wait, what? My self-esteem is dependent on how many follicles I have? That just sounded so ridiculous. And it got me thinking that our society has sold us that if we buy these things, we're going to feel better about who we are. If we have that right number on the scale, and if we don't, buy this product, and we'll lose weight now. And it's not true. And as I began my journey, not just into recovery, but back to life, what I realized is that our society is telling us that ego and self-esteem are the same thing, when actually they're on opposite ends of a continuum. When we reinforce our ego and build our ego, we deny our self-esteem. When we build our self-esteem, it has nothing to do with our ego at all. So this is my big idea, my theory, that we need to start looking at this difference between ego and self-esteem and start moving towards a higher sense of self-esteem. Think about what our society and our world would be like if it was less ego and less about me and what do you have that I want, and more about self-esteem and what can we do to support each other in order to make the world a better place. So my goal in life is to continue to move up that continuum. And what I've learned is we don't make giant leaps, we make little tiny incremental changes. And to me, it doesn't matter so much where you are on the continuum as much as it does which direction are you pointed in. So the trick is to start moving down that continuum towards a higher sense of esteem. Now, some of the differences between the two. Ego tends to be very fragile. We can take away someone's ego, we can give them ego. We can say, "Oh my God, I love your shoes. Those are so beautiful, I love those." "Oh, wow, you like that?" Or, "Oh, did you just get your hair cut?" And someone's ego can go away. But see, self-esteem is solid. You cannot take my self-esteem away from me. You cannot give me self-esteem. That's why it's self-esteem, how we feel about ourselves. And that's what it's about, growing that part. You can come up to me afterwards and say, "Randy, that was a total waste of my 15 minutes. I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry you didn't enjoy that talk. I hope you got something out of someone else's." So it's not about me. And if we stop looking at it from that standpoint, how much better would this world be? Now, I want to give some tips and some tricks on what we can do to start moving down that continuum. And one of the things that we can do is we can stop treating ourselves the way that we've been treating ourselves. I believe that we need to start treating ourselves like our own best friend rather than our own worst enemy. And what we do to ourselves is we take the obstacles that life gives us and we turn them into walls. Would we agree that life gives us hurdles? It does, right? It just does. But here's what we do. We take those hurdles and we turn them into walls. And a wall is much more difficult to get over than a hurdle. And we do this to ourselves all the time through negative self-talk, through simple words and phrases that we use on a regular basis. The number one word that I hear people use all the time is can't. I can't quit drinking. I can't lose these last 10 pounds. I can't do that. Well, let's look at these last 10 pounds. Would this talk be any different whatsoever if I was 10 pounds heavier or 10 pounds lighter? No. But why do we give ourselves such a hard time? It's not that I can't lose the last 10 pounds. To be honest, I don't want to. We just moved to Orlando a year ago. I live in the land of churros and Mickey bars. It's really, really hard. So am I really willing to do what it takes? It's not that I can't. It's, you know what, I really don't want to. It's not that I can't quit drinking. Because I proved back in May of 1984, when it's important enough to me, I can. And I learned how much strength and courage I actually do have. When we take those walls and turn them into hurdles, and we start looking around at the support and the love and what is actually around us, now we can overcome anything that life throws at us. So can't is one of those words to start taking out of your vocabulary. Look at how often you use that word in your life. Start to recognize, and then slowly start to get rid of that word. Another word that I hear a lot of people use, I just heard it a little while ago, earlier here. Should. I should exercise more. I should get better sleep. I should change my eating habits. I should quit smoking. I should. All we end up doing is shitting all over ourselves. And we need to stop doing that. Should is like taking a metal sledgehammer and hitting ourselves over the head with it. Should says not good enough. And we need to stop doing that. Let's take those shoulds out, and it turns those walls back into hurdles. No more shoulds. Watch how often you use that word. And then another one that I talked about, and this one is like fingernails on a chalkboard to me. I watch people use this all the time, and it's like this word doesn't even exist. And that word is try. I'll try to get more sleep. I'll try to quit smoking. I'll try to... What happens if someone says to you, oh, I'll try to be there on time? What do you know is going to happen? They're going to be late. Yeah, I'll try. Do you know that trying is lying? It doesn't even exist, and I'm going to prove that to you right now. What I'd like you to do is raise your arm. Okay, we're raising arms, right? Okay, put your arm down. Pretty simple for most of us, yeah? Now what I'd like you to do is try to raise your arm. Try to raise your arm. No, you didn't. Don't do it. Just try to raise your arm. No, now you're not doing it. Try to raise your arm. I know, you're looking at me like, dude, what are you talking about? True? You either raise your arm or you don't. I'm going to try to be there on time. You either do it or you don't. I'm going to try to lose weight. You do it or you don't. There's no such thing as try. It doesn't even exist. But we use this word all the time. And see, it's about doing your best in everything that you do. And sometimes we do our very best and things don't work out. Has anyone had this experience where you do your very best at something and it doesn't work out, but as a result of that, something even better happens? Right. I had a business a few years ago. I loved running this business. I had great employees. I was doing really great things and helping a lot of people. And then I made some poor business decisions, and I hired the wrong people and kept them on too long. And before I knew it, the business went away. And it was heartbreaking to me, and it was devastating. And my ego got involved because I felt humiliated. What are people going to think of me now that my business failed? And it took me a long time to recover because I realized that just because my business failed, it did not make me a failure. There was a difference between those two. And because that business failed, I started a new career path, picked myself back up, because life is not about how many times you fall down, it's about how many times you get back up. Because every time we're stronger. And I stood back up, it's like, okay, what now? And I chose a new path, and I'm down this path, and all of a sudden it's like, I want to write a book, so I wrote a book. And then I want to speak to more people because I have these messages and I wrote a book. And all these amazing things were happening, and then all of a sudden I got this application And today, because that business failed, I get to do a TED Talk. Anything is possible if we just get out of our own way. Anything. A druggie and a drunk who got fired from a job delivering pizza is here today on this stage doing this. Anything is possible if we just get out of our own way. And if we take those balls and turn them back into hurdles, it's possible to do that. We've all done it in some ways, and as I'm saying this, for some of you, this might be new, but for a lot of you, I'm just telling you stuff you already know, and just reminding you of that. One of my favorite speakers was Wayne Dyer. And the thing that I loved about Dr. Dyer is that he reminded me of a lot of things I already knew, but kind of framed it in a way that just made sense, that I could apply to my life, and it was just awesome. Anything is possible if we get out of our own way. And if we enjoy this journey that life puts in front of us. And actually, now that I say that, there's a story I would like to end with. Over on the island of Maui, there's this town called Hana. And a lot of people go to Maui and they hear from their friends, oh, you gotta go to Hana. So these tourists get in their rent-a-car and off to Hana they go. Now what they sometimes don't realize is that the road to Hana is about 50 miles long, but it takes 2.5 hours to get to Hana. Because the road to Hana is 1.5 lanes wide for two-way traffic. And there are over 600 hairpin turns on the way to Hana. And on one side of the road is a 200-foot cliff down to the ocean, and on the other side is a rainforest. It's listed as one of the 5 most dangerous roads in the world. So these tourists get in their rent-a-car and off to Hana they go. And they're zipping around the corners and barely missing cars going the other way. Oh, I will tell you also that it's also known as the divorce highway. Yeah, a lot of fights happen on the road to Hana. Oh, slow down, now you missed. Yeah. So 2.5 hours later, you get to Hana. And in Hana is a gas station and a general store where you can buy sandwiches and a t-shirt that says, I survived the road to Hana. And a hotel that has about 20 rooms. And that's it. And these tourists are like, are you serious? I nearly killed myself getting here, and all I get is a sandwich and a lousy t-shirt? They're pissed. And all the way home, they talk about, oh, that was such a waste of time. Don't even bother going to Hana. But see, those of us who know the road to Hana know that it's one of the 5 most beautiful roads in the world, too. Every time you turn one of those corners, you have a 200-foot view down to the ocean. And that water is bluer than you could ever imagine blue being. And sometimes you can see dolphins or whales playing in the water. And then you look over in the rainforest, and there are so many shades of green there, green that you didn't even know existed. And sometimes you can see waterfalls coming down through the rocks. And you finally make your way to Hana, and you stop and you stretch your legs, and you go into the general store and get a sandwich. And then you can go up on the hill and look at this amazing vista, or go down to the black sand beach, or go a little farther to the 7 sacred pools, where it's a waterfall into a lagoon, into a waterfall, into another lagoon, 7 times all the way to the ocean. I know we want to go right now, don't we? It's one of the most beautiful roads in the world. But so many people get caught up in, I gotta get to Hana, that they forget to enjoy the road along the way. Enjoy your road. That's what life is all about. My #1 mantra in life, and I've been saying this to everybody here today. Rule #1, have fun with everything that you do. I moved here a year ago. I got a little part-time job at Disney. Oh my God, I'm having so much fun. So I get to be a speaker and a writer, and now I'm working part-time at Disney. My life is amazing. And if I can go from where I was to where I am, anything is possible for you as long as you get out of your own way. Start treating yourself like your own best friend rather than your own worst enemy. And it's all there for you. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it, and I hope to see you again.